stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Welcome to Phil's Gang Show, and happy Independence Day. Today, my special guest is my good friend, Craig Roberts. Craig is the host of the California's longest-running talk show, K-Facts, in San Francisco, and you can catch his show weekdays 5 to 7 Pacific Time. My God, it is July already. Do you believe this, Craig? I mean,
it's incredible, Phil, and a very happy Independence Day to you and all the listeners out there. Yeah, it's a year that's moved along pretty rapidly, hasn't it? And a year that's been met with a great deal of excitement, I think, in terms of the response on Wall Street. I think one of the last conversations that we had on the air just around the time of the election cycle was, well, you know, come January, once the Trump administration has been sworn into office, we're going to see a severe and precipitous drop on Wall Street and batten down the hatches because the big bubble is going to finally burst. And, of course, as we all know, the markets have done anything but that in the ensuing going on 7 months now.
Yeah, and what's amazing about the rally since he won that November night, the rally, if you go look at the companies and you go look at the performance of the companies, you look at the earnings of the companies, they're not great. And matter of fact, the earnings, what's scary about their earnings, what they're doing now to prop these markets up is they're using adjusted earnings. Now, a lot of these companies are not reporting their expenses. Like if they have a piece of machinery they're not writing it off. They give stock to their employees. They're not writing it off. So what's happening? They're using adjusted earnings, and they're making their statements look 50% better than they are. And we're already in such a tremendous bubble, and now this is what they've been doing since November. So that's a little scary. And the market, Craig, has just been really kind of just stalled here. It's like everybody's waiting. They've been trading in the promise of everything, you know, the tax cut, the big tax cut, you know, all the superlatives he uses. And everything went fine, but it just seems like the big deal now, the tax cut, the rollback of Obamacare, it seems like to me he's having more problems with his party than he is with the Democrats. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think your observation is very astute. I mean, one of the disfortunate aspects of trying to come in and right the ship of state called the United States economy is that there are so many things so wrong for so long in so many areas that it is a huge job. And I fear the largest aspect of this might likely look a lot like the Reagan-Clinton years, that many of the policies that Ronald Reagan instituted in the 1980s in terms of cutting government spending, reducing welfare payments, getting a more business-friendly environment in terms of policy out of Washington, D.C., while, yes, there was a degree to which the country had benefited from many of those policies immediately, the longer-term positive effect really fell to the benefit of William Clinton, who now, after having all of those policies in for a while and the opportunity to impact every corner and crevice of the economy, really became the benefit of the 1990s for the work that was done in the 1980s. And I suspect you'll probably see a lot of that here as well with the efforts being put forward by this administration. If anything, the terror of a precipitous drop with Donald Trump taking office in January did not happen because I think there's largely been a very positive psychological effect on this, that you have an administration who is now pro-business, pro-Wall Street, willing to reduce a lot of the onerous regulations and restrictions that have hampered business for so long. And so I think a lot of it is just simply that sense that there's a new sheriff in town. Clearly, Donald Trump has not turned around the economy overnight. We're watching, as you indicate, the reports on Wall Street that if anything, I think there's more optimistic hope that is currently giving a sense of buoyancy to this market. The big question is, how long will all of that last?
The world is a mess. I inherited a mess. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it.
Well, the problem, as I see it, and I was very disappointed when I heard him take ownership of the market, I was stunned. Because, again, when he said it was a big, fat, ugly bubble, what he was saying is that this whole rally, this whole propping up of this market and the economy with low rates and all this printing and this liquidity, that everything's fake. And then he gets the 17% rally, and then he starts taking credit for it.
Take a look at what's going on with the stock market. Trillions of dollars of value have been created since I won the election. I mean, trillions.
And then all of a sudden, he starts talking about the unemployment rate when Obama had it at 5.5%. He said was phony, was 20%. But now when he comes in with 4.4%, he doesn't say it's phony. It's almost like he's stating, oh, by the way, I drove the unemployment rate from 20% down to 4.4%. And, oh, look at the stock market. You know, I'm going to own this because it's a beautiful thing. That, to me, I think, is one of his biggest mistakes, because now his enemies, I believe, will undermine the stock market, try to get this market to correct so they can just blame him. I don't know for the life of me why he switched gears. And also more scary is he's now for a weak dollar, which is in common with a weak economy. So how did you feel about that?
Well, I think part of the danger here is that there is this huge transition that I think he's struggling with, moving from Donald Trump, the candidate, to Donald Trump, the president. And the things that you can say and the challenges that you can make when you're a candidate become entirely different once you now have to take ownership of it. You've been sworn into office. Now, baby, this is really yours to be sure. And I think perhaps he's getting, in some arenas, some poor advice. I concur with you that the notion that somehow the real level of unemployment in the country was hovering around 15 to 17% under the Obama administration, and suddenly now that's been reduced by 2/3 under his, and now the numbers are real. We know that can't be true. The other issue that we know to a certainty is this. If you watch the buying behavior, if you look at numbers on Wall Street that are largely very frothy because of the sense of excitement over stocks like Netflix and Amazon and Google, but a lot of the fundamentals in terms of price-earnings ratios really aren't there, and you realize, well, even for the jobs that have been created, these are largely low-paying jobs. And so there's aspects of the fundamentals to all of this that I think are easily to ignore, and every administration has probably done it since the days of Calvin Coolidge. The problem, of course, is at some point you have to own what you take claim for or what you take credit for, and you're right. Should there be a massive correction, should there be some major geopolitical event to come down the pike that would disturb what we see in terms of the stability on Wall Street, could be very troublesome. We're looking at some of the lowest volatility numbers we've seen, certainly in recent memory, going back in comparison to 2009, 2010. They are phenomenally low, and I think part of it is, again, the psychological effect of pro-Wall Street, pro-business presidency, not recognizing the fact that behind all of the psychology of the market has to be the fundamentals, and I think therein lies the real question. Just how healthy are the fundamentals?
Well, and it seems to me that they're continuing, they love these bubbles. This is the third bubble, and it's almost like they intentionally, they don't want people to do better, because if people are poorer and they load them up with debt, they're debt slaves, they have always the excuse to lower rates and make easy credit to create another bubble.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. philsgang.com. What are people saying?
I've been in the financial business myself about 24 years. Very much enjoy the software program for the charts.
I love the new MV charts on Phil's software, and I'm making profits using them.
Complete guidance and professional education for investors who want to succeed in the stock market.
I love your new MV1, making lots of profits.
I love the chart. You know, I'm limited with time, real good as far as just looking at whatever ticker tells me right away.
I've always enjoyed Phil's straightforwardness and talk about what's really going on.
The new MV1 and MV2 charting software. I particularly like the pre- and post-market candlesticks.
You guys have always been great on the service side. I can't say enough about the service side.
Don't wait. Sign up for Phil's Gang today. Give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Even the experienced traders and investors need to keep learning to stay ahead. philsgang.com provides educational information about Phil's Gang products and services in many different ways. Daily live webinars hosted by Phil Grande and technical charting experts help you understand and keep up with today's lively markets. Short videos, investing programs, and up-to-the-minute market alerts help you get up to speed with the market using Phil's Gang MaxVest 1000 stock charting software. We teach you an investing foundation that you seek to take the first steps towards achieving your personal financial goals. Visit philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Again, that's philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. I got a great opportunity for those people who are disgusted with the market, who don't have time to learn. What you do is follow me in the exchange-traded fund that I'm invested in. Every day you go to my site and you can see exactly what I am doing with my investment, and you can mimic me. Nobody else dares do that. Join the gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. philsgang.com. What are people saying?
I've been in the financial business myself about 24 years. Very much enjoy the software program for the charts.
I love the new MV charts on Phil's software, and I'm making profits using them.
Complete guidance and professional education for investors who want to succeed in the stock market.
I love your new MV1, making lots of profits.
I love the chart. You know, I'm limited with time, real good as far as just looking at whatever ticker tells me right away.
I've always enjoyed Phil's straightforwardness and talk about what's really going on.
The new MV1 and MV2 charting software. I particularly like the pre- and post-market candlesticks.
You guys have always been great on the service side. I can't say enough about the service side.
Don't wait. Sign up for Phil's Gang today. Give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. When St. Jude finds something that works well with a certain cancer, they share that with everybody. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge. We just have to worry about helping Chandler, and he's just my heart.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Celebrating 18 years as the leader in investing and trading education.
Following your system has been fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciate the work you do. You're really an inspiration.
I have learned so much.
You're really one of the best I've ever heard. I've been with you for about a month and a half now, and I'm already up 7%.
Financial education is, in many respects, the most important education you can get, and that's what they're getting from your show.
You guys have always been great on the service side.
I have so much more confidence in when I'm in my trading.
Phil, keep up the good work.
I've been in this business for 45 years, and you are the best.
And I've been following you, I guess, about 9 months right now, and you've just done a great job.
Join the gang, and you'll never regret it.
If you're serious about securing your financial future, then contact philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264.
Hi, Phil Grande here. I want to reach out and thank all the listeners in the Boston area for listening to Phil's Gang Show on AM 1260, The Buzz.
Happy Independence Day from your friends at Phil's Gang. We hope you have a safe and enjoyable 4th of July.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang Show. I am Phil Grande, your host, and we continue my conversation with Craig Roberts. It's pretty scary if you look at the fundamentals and you go through them. I mean, look at, we got durable goods the other day. And that's a real important indicator because the durable goods tells us, looking forward, how well the economy is doing. And that was a terrible number. So I'm a little concerned that everybody's saying, oh, the heck with the financials. We don't care about that. Everything's just fine. And you go look at the VIX and you go, oh, my God, it doesn't match.
Well, and of course, as your listeners know, uncertainty is something that tends to spook the markets. And it was a lot of uncertainty in 2008, 2009, coupled with the condition of the prime lending rates, what was happening in the mortgage industry that led to the last Great Recession. Now we find ourselves back in more uncertain territory insofar as, yeah, it's true, we're not lending money at neg-am rates, although you're starting to see some of these zero interest rate loans cropping up again, which makes me nervous. But the other thing that we have today that we did not have just about 10 years ago, and that is a federal deficit that's now hovering at $20 trillion. And while I'm encouraged that the Fed has been slowly easing up the overnight lending rate inch by inch, that at least puts back into the hands of the Feds a couple of tools at their disposal should we enter into some hyperinflation territory. But the problem is, every time you raise that overnight lending rate, and they've done it 3 times over the last few months, and there's talk about more happening before the end of this year, and certainly continuing the policy into 2018, how do you begin to compensate for the impact that those higher interest rates have on the obligation of dealing with $20 trillion in deficit? This administration really has not, since taking office, clearly come out and talked about how they're going to address the potential impact of this country owing more than $20 trillion.
And the other issue, when we get to a point with all the debt, the consumer debt, the household debt, and then just like what happened in the last bubble, we had the housing bubble, all of a sudden everything stopped, and then all the prices started to deflate, and then people lost their jobs. But at least they had an interest rate of 5% that they could cut back. As a matter of fact, if you go even back to the dot-com, Alan Greenspan, over 2 years, he raised the rates 17 times, went from 1% to 5.25%. She, in 2 years, raised the rates from 0 to 0.75%. They have no brakes. Once that deflation hits and we start going down, there is no brakes. How do you? She should have been raising these rates starting in 2010.
Yeah, clearly so. And I think, unfortunately, Ben Bernanke, well, certainly he might be in the minds of some credited with staving off potential bigger disaster, along with all of the quantitative easing and the infusion of cash from the Treasury into the markets. At the end of the day, nobody can really argue what good it's done, but you can certainly point to the kind of dangerous position it's now put us in, because as the Fed has always been continuously concerned about what would happen if we have hyperinflation, the area of addressing the hyper-deflation is something that they've not really completely grasped or embraced, have they?
No, not at all. I just want to remind my listeners, I have my best friend on, Craig Roberts. He has a wonderful show, Lifeline. It's on KFAX. It's the longest-running show in California. It's from 5 to 7 California time. You should listen to it. I listen to it. I steal a lot of good stuff from him. But you should check that out. Let's move to Medicare a little. This not Medicare, but this whole healthcare situation, which to me I think that could be the catalyst that could take this whole market down. In other words, I think there's going to be an event. You remember we had the flash crash in 2010, and then 2011. Do you remember we had right after that we had the then they took the ratings from AAA and they dropped our country's rating to AA, and we're going to, if we have an event like that, and I think the event could be this health care, I think this is really dangerous because, and you go look, I think this could take us down. And they're all upset at him because he wants to cut back Medicaid. But my Lord, that if you think about what Obama did, he extended Medicaid to 31 states, costing us another $80 billion. And we are putting up the Fed, the feds are pushing most of the money into these, into what's about 320 trillion compared to the states about 240, something like that. That's not counting the 80 trillion. I think you got to start cutting back. We've got to make a decision. Are we going to enter a free market, or are we going to enter? Let's just do single payer. But it's not working trying to half and half. But I don't think they got the guts to come out and say, here's the choice: free market, or we go to single payer. That's it. You can't mix the two. Am I right?
Well, you can't mix the two, and there's also a disconnect between the notion of single payer and affordable. That somehow we think, well, because there's some big anonymous organization back in Washington, D.C. that's paying for all of this, that it suddenly becomes affordable. Affordable to who and how? At the end of the day, Phil, somebody is writing those checks, whether it's Washington, D.C. writing the checks to us or we writing the checks to Washington, D.C. And we know at the end of the day, all Washington really does is just shift the money around anyway. Let's face it, Washington, D.C. produces no products. It generates no revenue. All it serves as a channel to redistribute wealth. And the problem with this is it seems as if the Republican Party has not really had a strong strategy in place to address what I believe was the intentional setting up of this country by the Democrats 7 years ago, with the passage of the so-called Affordable Health Care Act, knowing full well by the time we reach 2017, 2018, this thing will be on the precipice of imploding, that insurance companies could no longer continue to underwrite this, that many of the healthcare providers could no longer continue to accept the low payments that were being offered through the program, and eventually this thing would simply collapse, and then we would feel as if we had been painted into a corner. Well, you have no choice now. It has to be a single-payer program.
And let's talk about that. After these messages, stay tuned. I'll be right back. More with Craig Roberts.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Even the experienced traders and investors need to keep learning to stay ahead. philsgang.com provides educational information about Phil's Gang products and services in many different ways. Daily live webinars hosted by Phil Grande and technical charting experts help you understand and keep up with today's lively markets. Short videos, investing programs, and up-to-the-minute market alerts help you get up to speed with the market using Phil's Gang MaxVest 1000 stock charting software. We teach you an investing foundation that you seek to take the first steps towards achieving your personal financial goals. Visit philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Again, that's philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Performing technical analysis is no easy task for any investor unless conducted with a professional stock charting service. At Phil's Gang, we offer a choice of high-power, color-coded stock charts, all seamlessly integrated, so you can tackle the market the way you want to. The Phil's Gang MaxVest 1000 stock charts. From Phil's Gang are high-performance HTML5 web-based charts that work on any browser and device, so you can put live streaming data and fully interactive charts in the palm of your hand. Phil Grande designed the MV software to have the best features, and so far the early reviews have been great. You can plot charts on an intraday basis as well as on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. There is also a built-in watch list that you can customize to your liking. For more information, go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264. Are you ready to get serious about your financial future? Reduce your debt, pay off those student loans, and prepare for retirement. Taking control of your finances can be intimidating, but with philsgang.com, you will be educated and guided to make smart investment decisions in the stock market. If the market is up or down, philsgang.com is the only source where you'll learn how to trade stocks and how to invest in the stock market using professional-level skills and strategies. For more information, go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. I got a great opportunity for those people who are disgusted with the market, who don't have time to learn. What you do is follow me in the exchange-traded fund that I'm invested in. Every day you go to my site and you can see exactly what I am doing with my investment, and you can mimic me. Nobody else dares do that. Join the gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Celebrating 18 years as the leader in investing and trading education.
Following your system has been fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciate the work you do. You're really an inspiration.
I have learned so much.
You're really one of the best I've ever heard. I've been with you for about a month and a half now, and I'm already up 7%.
Financial education is, in many respects, the most important education you can get, and that's what they're getting from your show.
You guys have always been great on the service side.
I have so much more confidence in when I'm in my trading.
Phil, keep up the good work.
I've been in this business for 45 years, and you are the best.
And I've been following you, I guess, about 9 months right now, and you've just done a great job.
Join the gang, and you'll never regret it.
If you're serious about securing your financial future, then contact philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264.
Phil Grande here, Phil's Gang Radio Show. To all my listeners in San Francisco, I want to reach out and thank you all for listening on Business Radio KDOW, KDOW 1220 AM.
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. Now, here's Phil.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang Show. I am Phil Grande, your host, and we continue my conversation with Craig Roberts. I think at some point what they did, Obama said, is we know this thing's going to blow up, but that's okay because Hillary would be the next president and we can go right to single payer. I think this was all planned.
Oh, I don't have any doubt about it. There's no doubt about that in my mind whatsoever. How can anybody believe that Nancy Pelosi could have been actually serious when she said, infamously so, well, just pass it and we'll figure out what's in it? They knew precisely what was in this bill. Washington, D.C., Congress doesn't do a lot by accident. And I think it was intended to be this way, and I think you're right. The only miscalculation was that by the time this exploded on the Democrats, they anticipated having a Democrat in control of the White House that could easily flip this to single payer, and they got a big surprise handed to them last November.
Well, it's interesting because they knew what was going on, because if there's a page, I think it's 34,460. You go to that page, and it was pointed out to me by somebody, and I looked at it, and they were dead on. On that page, it identified, once they passed the bill, how many people would lose their health care. And they were selling this as nobody's going to lose their health care. Matter of fact, what's her name? The right-hand person to Obama. She's been with him for years. Valerie Jarrett. remember she sent out a letter to the country saying you're not going to lose your health insurance. Nobody's going to get dropped. But on that page, it was all lined up who was going to get dropped. I mean, it was just a hoax. And then now they're saying to the Republicans, "Look at this. They're not being transparent. We were." Right.
Exactly right. And the aspect of which this was a major dog and pony show presented before the general public, and pretty much the old-fashioned bait and switch type thing. We're gonna hook you in on the idea of free and low cost and affordable health care. Remember when Barack Obama was marketing this as, you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, and the average family of four will experience $2,500 a year in medical cost savings. Well, if anything, the average family of four has seen their expenses go up by $2,500, in some cases even more. So I think they fully knew what they were doing when they led us into this. I think they also knew and had calculated that things would begin to unravel at the seams just about the time that Barack Obama was now Citizen Barack, and there was a new president in the White House could then easily guide this into single payer. What they weren't counting on was the outcome of last November's election.
Well, what's your take on why, when they did this extended care to the 31 states, I mean, somebody had to think down the line this thing wasn't going to work at some point. But now, what's your take on why they're upset for what the president's trying to do is to cut Medicaid back, which is basically he's just taking back what Obama gave with that extended, the 31 states had the extended Medicaid. I'm kind of confused with that. I don't get that. No,
I think at the end of the day, it's simple, Phil. I think it's the notion of entitlement. We have raised now 2 generations worth of Americans that feel that they are entitled to things, and not only are they entitled to things to be given to them by their government, but they're entitled to receive those things at the expense of somebody else. And so once you give something away, they don't want you to come back a few days later and say, okay, now you have to pay for it, or it's no longer free. And so I think part of the problem is that you've got a mentality amongst millennials and the current generation that have been so brainwashed into this notion of entitlement that any notion of saying, okay, we got to be realistic about this. Eventually, we have to account for all of the money. The numbers are not working out here. Let's sit down and have a discussion. I mean, if this was, to put this in terms that listeners can relate to, if this was a discussion between you and your spouse at home, and you've talked about a new house, and you've talked about buying a new car, and you're going to spend a beautiful vacation in Europe this summer and things of this sort, and then you come back after having spent all of that money and invested in property and so forth, and then you start to calculate what you have to pay in a mortgage payment and a car payment and a credit card bill for the vacation. You realize we're making $6,000 a month, and we owe $8,000 a month. We have a problem. Something's got to go. We're going to have to either give back one of the cars or sell the house and move into something smaller. Well, if one of the two spouses say, no, wait a minute, I've worked hard, I've earned this, I've been married to you and raised our children or gone to work every day to bring money into this household, I am entitled to this, and steadfastly refuse to face up to the reality that you are living beyond your means, then there's 2 words that come to mind that can only be the eventual outcome. The first word is bankruptcy, and the second word is divorce.
What gets me is you would think that whether you're Republican or Democrat, for the good of the country, you'd all get together and say, look, we got to pull this back. We got to do, but it's just so frustrating when it's either a Republican bill or it's like before, it's a Democrat bill. They don't get together and then face the nation, tell them the truth, give them the hard story, and say, look, this is the facts. And that's what's killing this country. These politicians don't put their man pants on. Instead, they always want to go to the next level of la-la land.
Well, there's another disconnect here happening as well, and I think that there is so much sense of deflection taking place, distraction in relationship to, for example, Trump potential ties to Putin, potential ties to Russia.
Oh, God.
More
Yeah.
talk about the potential influence of Russia, not just in terms of manipulation of the appearance of where things were headed that would ultimately make somebody change their mind when they got to the ballot box, but now suggesting, oh, no, they actually were involved in manipulating the outcome at the ballot box itself. Okay, so if we want to talk about manipulation of an election, then let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the vote buying that took place under the direction of Democrats in this country who handed out all of these goodies knowing full well the big payoff was going to be all of the Democrat faithful showing up to the ballot box last November and marking the box that said Hillary Clinton for president. I have got to believe when they crafted this bill, and the timing at the time I said looked very suspicious, that some of the increases and some of the most troublesome outcome data will begin to come forward with the release of the 2017 premiums just in time for Barack Obama to be leaving office.
Right.
I said at the time, this stinks. This feels like something here has been intentionally timed. I've got to wonder why all of our friends, using the term loosely, at NBC and CBS and ABC and CNN and MSNBC in particular, while they are happy to talk about potential Russian involvement in the elections, how about the potential vote buying in the election by the Democrat Party that was crafted clear back in 2003 and 2004 that I believe, yes, did have some influence on the election results last November. They didn't get the outcome that they had hoped for because they weren't counting on Donald Trump taking it all the way across the finish line. But you got to wonder just how much of this was really calculated, because at the end of the day, you know, it's about two things. It's about money and power. Well, understanding that the insurance companies didn't have a dog in this hunt, they never put up a single protest when this was being debated in the halls of Congress. They quietly sat back and accepted Obamacare. Why? Because they knew it was going to be a windfall for them to have Congress dictate that now by law you must buy their product. And then in terms of the power aspect of this, everybody on Capitol Hill knew that this was going to be handing a tremendous tool to the Democrats to be able to say, see here, we saved the day by providing you extended Medicare and by opening up these exchanges across the country. We're absolute heroes. Well, it's easy to give away somebody else's money until eventually you have to account for it.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Even the experienced traders and investors need to keep learning to stay ahead. philsgang.com provides educational information about Phil's Gang products and services in many different ways. Daily live webinars hosted by Phil Grande and technical charting experts help you understand and keep up with today's lively markets. Short videos, investing programs, and up-to-the-minute market alerts help you get up to speed with the market using Phil's Gang MaxVest 1000 stock charting software. We teach you an investing foundation that you seek to take the first steps towards achieving your personal financial goals. Visit philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Again, that's philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. I got a great opportunity for those people who are disgusted with the market, who don't have time to learn. What you do is follow me in the exchange-traded fund that I'm invested in. Every day you go to my site and you can see exactly what I am doing with my investment, and you can mimic me. Nobody else dares do that. Join the gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. We're offering the most powerful stock charts available on the market, the MaxVest 1000 charts. Now, the difference between these charts and all the other charts is this follows the money. Yes, it gives you a buy-sell signal. I know you're going to say, well, they all do. No, not true. The difference with the MaxVest is they follow the important money, the hedge funds, the biggest banks, the 401ks, the pension fund managers. That's the big difference. They're not following the emotion. That's what most charts do. They follow the money. That's what Maximus does, follows the money. Check it out. Join my gang, philsgang.com. Oh, and the chart as low as $19.95 a month. For more information, just go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-GANG. We will see you on the charts.
Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
To be able to just get my son to St. Jude and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Performing technical analysis is no easy task for any investor unless conducted with a professional stock charting service. At Phil's Gang, we offer a choice of high-power, color-coded stock charts, all seamlessly integrated, so you can tackle the market the way you want to. The Phil's Gang Max Best 1000 Stock Charts. From Phil's Gang are high-performance HTML5 web-based charts that work on any browser and device, so you can put live streaming data and fully interactive charts in the palm of your hand. Phil Grande designed the MV software to have the best features, and so far the early reviews have been great. You can plot charts on an intraday basis as well as on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. There is also a built-in watch list that you can customize to your liking. For more information, go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264. Welcome back. Are you a fan of the Phil's Gang radio show? Then you should check out philsgang.com or give them a call, 877-600-4264.
We have a second suggestion for our Republican colleagues to work with us. Abandon the closed-door, secret process they have used. And we can start over again and work together.
We needed to get this far enough down the path to where there were a few issues extant that needed to be closed, and we're delaying the process so that we can close those remaining issues. We're going to press on. We think the status quo is unsustainable, and we're optimistic we're going to get to a result that's better than the status quo.
You just mentioned what hits me funny is the new bill in the Senate. At least Obama realized that you say, I got a mandate to get the young people in here, because otherwise this thing will crash with just all the older people and sick people. And in the Senate bill, there's no mandate at all to answer that question, to answer that problem, to solve that problem. And when you look at the Senate bill, you go, well, at least Obama knew you had to do something to get young people. And the Senate bill comes out, and there's nothing like that. So you have to think, well, what are they thinking? Where are they going to get all these young people to come in? I mean, wouldn't it be better just to have a total free market and let people go across the state lines? And wouldn't just competition would drive down the premiums. But why couldn't they just take the S&P 500 companies, take the pharmaceutical companies, do a small, tiny tax to put some kind of trust together so there's enough money to take care of pre-existing folks and poor people. I mean, it doesn't seem that complicated if they would just work together, the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean, how much of a tax would you have to add to all the S&P 500 companies to raise enough money to take care of, to set up a trust to take care of the pre-existing folks and the elderly and the poor?
Well, there is a degree to which there's some irony here in that for the early part of the history of modern medicine in America, it was all free marketplace. And you don't recall back in the 1940s and 50s, for those of us old enough to remember that there were long lines of people who could not receive health care and doctors were not available. My goodness, just the opposite was true. The average American could easily afford to not only see the doctor, but have the doctor come to your house.
Well, I remember
when
that.
necessary. It really wasn't until, and watch the interesting dividing line here, and I want to be cautious to say I'm not suggesting that people of low means or indigent should not be helped out by society in some fashion. America has a long history, almost since day number one, of helping the less fortunate. So I'm not suggesting at all that we shouldn't do that or don't have an obligation to do so. But isn't it interesting to note that it wasn't until the creation of Medicare in 1965 that we began to track the slow upward march of the cost of medical care in America over the ensuing 50-something years.
Yeah.
And if you look at other countries over the same timeline, the only notable difference between those nations where health care is affordable and a nation like ours where now it isn't, and that is the first major incursion into the medical industry by government with the forming of Medicare in 1965. Nobody wants to talk about that aspect of history. Now, how empirical is the evidence to be able to, without doubt or question, trace it back? Don't know the answer to that question, but I think it's certainly a question that bears exploration. And I think it's one that if we really did a hard crunching of numbers, you would find out and say, it was the minute that we began to weaken the free marketplace and encourage government intrusion into modern medicine that the genesis of the problems with the medical industry today began.
Oh, absolutely, and that's when, and it's always at a point like what Reagan say. He says that if you want to look at socialism, it always starts with healthcare. Always starts with medicine. And that's when I also think that's when all that stuff started to come in, as we became more of a slant to the liberal side, and that I think caused a big trouble is all this free stuff.
Well, progressives love to be heroes when it comes to giving away free stuff.
Free stuff.
Bernie Sanders' campaign was largely built upon the notion that it was going to be free education for everybody.
I believe that public colleges and universities should be tuition free. Make public colleges and universities tuition free. Public colleges and universities tuition free. Tuition free. Tuition free. Tuition free. 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 Free.
And I kept asking the question, does that mean now that if Bernie Sanders wins the nod as president, that we will no longer pay teachers in our country? Does that mean that the book publishers will now begin providing textbooks at no cost to students? Does that mean now that we will have to quit providing maintenance on buildings and teach classes in the outdoors because to make it free, that's what you have to do?
Exactly. Okay, well, I just, before we close this off, Craig, I'd like to have you address my listeners and tell me your own words, what July 4th really means to you.
Well, Phil, as we gather today with family and friends, and there'll, of course, be picnics and celebration of fireworks and playing in parks and things of that sort, I think it's also important to be mindful of just how incredibly blessed we are as a people and as a nation. We have been granted gifts that, quite frankly, are very rare. Yes, there are many democracies across the world, but the uniqueness of a constitutional republic that recognizes that certain rights, those inalienable rights, as the Constitution tells us, are not just rights that are granted by government, but rather rights that are protected by government because they've been granted by very God himself. I think to hold these rights as dear and as precious and to do everything that we can on this 4th of July to not only be memorable of the ability to enjoy the freedom of press, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom of association, the freedom to go out and get a job and care for your family and hopefully make the situation and the living conditions for your family better than the circumstances that you grew up in and hopefully better for future generations as well, that this is a tremendous gift. And it's one that we should not only show appreciation for, but that we should cherish at every moment and instill into the hearts and minds of our children and our children's children just what a valuable gift we have here. I think it's also important to be mindful of the fact that there is tremendous fragility in this thing we call American exceptionalism or the American experience. I am reminded of an event that took place outside of Constitution Hall as that early Congress had come together and had formed our very first government. They had very craftily and painstakingly come together and had agreement on the initial Constitution. Eventually, we would enjoy from that the Bill of Rights. And as all of those documents were pulled together, one day walking out of Constitution Hall, Ben Franklin was stopped by a woman, and she posed this question. Mr. Franklin, can you tell me, what kind of government have you given us? And Franklin paused for a moment, and he said, a constitutional republic, if you can keep it. I think his words should echo to this very day as a warning to this generation and future generations that what we enjoy, in spite of our challenges and foibles and political differences and societal differences and, yes, even economic challenges that we face as a nation and security issues that we face globally, that we have been given a very precious gift in this thing that we call America. And we should at all times be on guard and be vigilant to make sure that we keep it.
What a great ending. And again, folks, if you want to hear more of Craig Roberts, go to KFAX. It's 1100 a.m., and it's every night between 5 and 7. And again, it's the longest running show in California. He's about 130 years old now.
Wow!
What you say, Billy?
He's going to be drooling with his hamburgers and everything.
Wow!
No, kidding. But anyways, Craig, listen, thanks, man. That was great.
Phil, always a privilege to spend some time with you, and a great opportunity as well to spend some time with your listeners.
All right, 877-600-GANG. Follow me.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.